to our next group is, again, switch gear to battery standard.
Hi, I'm Sean Rulo.
And I'm Roxana Tarani.
And we're going to be talking about the integration of battery standards in in consumer populations. So we all know batteries. We can probably see over 20 examples in this room alone on your wrist, on your desk, in your pocket. They are never going away, and they will continue to get better. And with that, the batteries in them have to get better to keep up with all this computation that must be done. So this will demand a certain level of safety as these batteries get better, and especially with lithium ion, we have seen in the past and will continue to see a certain level of safety that can never be achieved. So we're going to be talking specifically about the recent issue with the Samsung Galaxy Note 7, which made big headlines last year. So this particular phone was incredibly hyped up. It was going to have an iris scanner. It was going to be less than a third of an inch tall, but still hold a 3,500 milliampere battery, and it was even slated to be released before the iPhone, so it had very big shoes to fill. And when it was released on August 19th, things were initially good, the hype was still alive. And then on August 24th, the first report of a battery explosion occurred in South Korea. And as time went on, this continued to increase until Samsung finally gave in and announced a voluntary global recall, which was about 2.5 million phones, where you could either get a full refund or get a replacement with a safe version of the battery. And so as this went out, they were being returned, and about 2 weeks later, the explosions got to such a point, with about 35 in the US alone, that the CPSC had to go in and announce an official recall, halting the sales completely. And this large gap between the two really shows the distance between Samsung and the government actors in this scenario. So after this recall, things continue to go bad. They keep getting more and more phones back, more replacements. And so as between the CPSC recall and October 1st, which is when phones started being sold again in South Korea, there was continuous reports of fires, and even with safe batteries, there was reports of China where these were still going on, but there was only one, and it was not completely solid, so they decided to full-on continue with the refunds, continue with sales until October 6th, which is when more of these replacements went on, and Samsung continued to deny that they weren't really sure that these were replacements, and it was just a whole mess. And then on October 8th, there was actually an incident on a Southwest airline plane where the replacement phone started to smoke and they had to evacuate. And so on October 9th, the wireless providers AT&T and T-Mobile decided to stop the sale of these new phones completely, even with these new replacements. And on October 11th, Samsung themselves decided to permanently halt all sales, all production, and get a full recall. So they sent out an update later on that would completely brick the phone, and meaning that there would be no real way to use it to its capacity. It would have limited charging capabilities. And once again, you can see between October 11th and October 13th, there's still a disparity between what the actual manufacturer is doing and what the official response was. So in the aftermath of this huge incident, Samsung had a lot of work to do. So they decided, yeah, we are going to be very transparent about this. They were very good. So they sourced an analysis to really determine the root cause of both of these separate battery incidences, both of the original and the replacements. And these were done by UL, Exponent, and TÜV in Germany. And they both showed that the first one was more due to design errors, which was due to this very high density battery being shoved in such a small and thin device. And the second one, they actually solved these issues, but it turned out to have manufacturing errors in terms of the positive electrode creating a short circuit, and also other issues of the insulation tape being missing in a few cases. So they were very transparent about this. They got everyone on board, and then they announced what they were going to do in response to this to make sure it would never happen again. And that was three main things. They updated their testing procedures to include this 8-point battery safety check, which is outlined in this picture. Include the durability test, which is more about overcharge and temperature testing, and puncture. Visual inspection, just a general visual look. X-ray to try and read out those problems that were seen with the design error to make sure there was no internal problems. Charge and discharge, just through normal use. TVOC test, which is the total volatile organic compound test, which would pretty much test if there's any leakage throughout the device. A disassembling test, as self-explanatory. Accelerated usage, which would basically just put it on high power mode, just try and use it as much as possible, just to check to see if, no matter how hard you use it, it will still function. And the last one was the delta open circuit voltage. So that pretty much tested the changes in the open circuit voltage from each component to final assembly.
This 8-point safety check, is they are adopting like UL standard, or this is a new invented one?
This is something that Samsung did by themselves. But all of the tests that are used are utilized in tests such as the UL 1642 and IEEE. So it's not, they're not unheard of, but they really wanted to make a big package for it to make it more public.
Yes, the question is, this 8 is recommended in those standards, or they integrated individually recorded? Each of these tests individually is part of some standard.
Yeah,
but as a collection, is it part of any standards, or this is new thing Samsung is doing? And maybe
it's not unheard of that these particular tests all in one combination it's not really unheard of. Like
but it's not required.
They are not required. There's in the United States they are not required to do any
As you do all
really.
of them at the same time.
Yes. So they also institute a multi-layer safety measurement for which basically makes sure that the hardware, software, and the technology that they're developing doesn't go out of the realm of what's possible as shown with their original design flaws.
Well, I'm curious, was it the battery? How about the charging? Because I know these batteries, the way you charge them, is very important.
Yes.
How fast you charge them, you reach certain level, then you slowly recharge them.
Yeah, that was part of the testing. Like with the durability test, they were testing the
Which
overcharge. The durability did the overcharging, and then the charge and discharge is more about just the.
But there's a
general
recipe
usage.
also for charging.
Yes.
Initially you
yes,
charge it one way, then you change the slope of charging.
Yes, that wasn't found to be a particular problem in this
Okay.
case because like, although this phone did have very fast charging and even had wireless charging, it wasn't really found to be a problem. It was
It
more
was
of
the
the
battery
architecture.
itself, the battery itself.
Yes, it was the architecture. And then finally, they founded an advisory group made of people from different universities and research fields to really basically grill Samsung over their future battery components and make sure that they will not happen. They will not have any additional incidents.
Okay, so because of these issues, government agencies had to get involved. So in the US, the CPSC is for consumer product safety. So with this, they declared their official recalls, and because of that, that means that in the US, they have to halt all sales. So when asked about what they could do to improve something like this, prevent these kind of issues, they said that they wanted to work with the industry to modernize safety standards and update testing protocols. And CATS is under the Korean government. So to help mitigate any safety issues, they wanted to advise consumers to stop buying products. So the government to advise consumers to stop buying products before the company itself. So with the Samsung case, it took Samsung 10 days to finally halt, or to have a global recall. So they want to prevent this by having the government have a recall instead of Samsung itself. Also to implement additional standard requirements, so additional safety testing as well, such as vibration testing, additional mechanical testing, stuff like that. And also to strengthen manufacturing